Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, and in today's short video I'm answering a really common question I get asked very frequently about LinkedIn advertising, and that's how much do LinkedIn ads cost? So regardless of what it is you're trying to do with LinkedIn advertising, what objective your campaign has, what sort of creative you're running, whether it's a image or a video or anything like that, there are some minimum spends on the platform that you need to comply with. And that's what I'm going to focus on today, and then just talk a little bit about what you should probably be looking to spend if you actually want to see any results. So at a very fundamental level, the minimum you have to spend on LinkedIn ads is $10 a day. So if you go and set up a campaign with a $10 a day daily budget, LinkedIn will let you set the campaign up, drop it down to $9, and they'll say your budget's not high enough, you need to get that $10 mark. Now, one thing to bear in mind as well is that depending on the account currency that you selected when you set up your LinkedIn advertising account, and bear in mind you cannot change the account currency after you've created your account, that minimum might actually be a little bit different in your currency. So for example, being based in New Zealand, I do a lot of work with LinkedIn ad accounts denominated in New Zealand dollars. They have a minimum daily spend of 15 New Zealand dollars a day, which is probably about 10 US dollars. So it just does pay to double check because there might be some currency conversion kind of differences, if you get what I mean. So it's well worth checking with that. But US dollars is obviously going to be the most popular and most common, so we'll use that for the basis of this video. It's 10 US dollars a day minimum daily budget. Now, you don't have to run ads for a set number of days. There is an option to do a lifetime budget, which is basically saying I've got $250 to spend, and I want to spend that over 15 days or 16 days or whatever it is. Now, the minimum there with your lifetime budget is basically the minimum daily budget times by the number of days. So if you're running a 30-day campaign, the minimum lifetime budget is going to be $300 basically. It's quite a good way to control spend if you're the kind of person who might set up a campaign on a daily budget and forget that it's running, and you don't want to set start or end dates or anything. You've just got a certain amount of money to spend in a period, and you want to stop that as soon as that money's run out, then you can use that lifetime budget. But yeah, it's basically just calculated off a day multiplier of that minimum at $10 a day budget. So that's what you've got to spend. So you could spend 10 US dollars in a day in effect, and then turn your ads off. You can do that. There's no kind of minimum running period. Once the ads are actually approved, you can just go and turn them on and off at will. But realistically, if you stick to the minimums on LinkedIn, you aren't going to see a great deal of results. And that's because it's a relatively expensive platform to advertise on. In another video, I go into detail around why LinkedIn ads are more expensive, so I'll leave a link to that in the video description. But realistically with LinkedIn, you're going to have to commit a bit more budget if you want to see success. With Facebook advertising, with Google advertising, you can start on some really modest budgets and actually see some good results. I've personally run Facebook ad campaigns in the past for $20, $30 that maybe haven't changed the world, but they've definitely brought something valuable to the business. Same with Google advertising. Sometimes it's a bit of a crapshoot. Certainly when you've got a lower budget, you're kind of banking on the right person coming along, but you are going to get more distribution for your dollar on Facebook and possibly even on Google as well. So with LinkedIn, if you want to make a decent sort of attempt at it, you've got to put a little bit more money aside than whatever the minimums are. So you might want to look to spend, say, $100 minimum on a campaign. A campaign can run for varying lengths, so it might be, hey, I've got $100 to spend and I'm going to run this campaign for 7 days, so it's just over $10 a day, sort of $14, $15 a day kind of thing that you're spending on that campaign. And that would give you at least enough spend to get a little bit of data, a little bit of understanding. But even then, $100 as a one-off campaign is not a great deal of money by LinkedIn standards. It's a platform with higher cost per impression and cost per click simply because of the sort of business-to-business targeting capabilities it's got within that platform. So yeah, the minimum is one thing. It's $10 US a day, or pretty much your local currency equivalent, I think. Just pay to check that. But as far as what you should be spending, you really do need to allocate a bit more. I would always be looking for any given campaign to probably spend a minimum of $100, and even then most campaigns I run with clients, we're starting anywhere around $250 upwards for a campaign, or usually on a daily budget basis, sort of $15 to $20 running over a month if we're going to go for a slightly longer period of time. How much you should spend and how long you run it is really one of those how long is a piece of string questions. It depends on how much budget you've got available for marketing. It depends on your objective. If your objective is to just test the waters with LinkedIn and say, hey, can I put together a bit of a hypothesis for my targeting? I want to reach people based on the following job functions and seniority levels and company industries and those kind of things. put some content in front of them and just see, can I get some impressions and clicks? You could start with a really small budget, basically just the minimum daily budget times by the number of days you want to run it for, adding up to however much you want to spend. But if you actually want to make a decent attempt at trying to generate leads or even sales, you are going to have to commit to spending more money. What I generally would encourage you to do, if you're able to do it and your business model supports it, is try and work out what's a lead worth or what's a sale worth, and then use LinkedIn's conversion tracking functionality to help you determine how much it's costing you to get a lead or a sale through your LinkedIn ads, and basically try to scale up based off that. Now, that's not always possible for every business as well. It's one thing to bear in mind. A lot of the clients that I work with, because they've got very long sales cycles and different sort of attribution challenges, it's quite often the case that what we're doing with LinkedIn advertising is really trying to support content marketing activity and sales activity and so on. And so we're using it more as a very targeted advertising platform, not massively as a lead generation platform, although that varies from business to business. And the thing with that then is we might run a smaller budget than we might like to, simply because it's a bit harder to measure. So what we just want to make sure we're doing is paying to get some distribution to the right kinds of people. So yeah, LinkedIn ads, how much does it cost? Starts from $10 a day. If you spend $10, you aren't going to see much in the way of results. You might be able to test whether you can get any delivery at all. Do look to put a decent amount aside. I would say for testing purposes, $100 for a campaign over a short duration is probably the minimum I would consider, but you can go lower than that if you need to. And then once you start to see some results, say, what is my objective? If my objective is just to do targeted advertising and build some awareness, then what do you have budget-wise to do that? On the other hand, if you can work out what a lead or sale is worth and track that accurately, you should be able to basically calculate your LinkedIn ad spend or budget off that. So yeah, hopefully you find that helpful. If you need any personalized advice, please let me know. You can send me an email at info@samfrost.co.nz. Like this video if you found it helpful. Please subscribe for more digital marketing advice, and I'll see you next time.